Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to ASSA ABLOY Virtual Instructor-Led Training Program, Hands-Free Opening Solutions. Today is part one. In 2 weeks, we will have part two. Today's class will deal with mechanical solutions for touchless. And we're soon going to learn that in order to be completely touch-free, there really isn't a way to make it totally mechanical. But with mechanical solutions only, you can reduce the number of touch points at an opening. So our learning objectives today are, at the end of today's class, we hope that each of you will be able to recognize the different types of touchless products, understand the need for touchless products, classify the type of touchless product by using the Touchless Continuum. I'm going to explain that in just a couple of slides. Evaluate the necessity of each product and compose a recommendation for the different type of openings. During this presentation, if you have any questions, please just type it into the Q&A, and when I get to a stopping point, I will answer the question, or I'm going to type my email in a little bit. By the way, I'm your virtual instructor, Guy Robinson. And what I'll type my email in case you think of a question later. I'll give it to you, Robinson@assaabloy.com. That's GUY.ROBINSON@assaabloy.com. If you think of something after the presentation. Now, with the advent of COVID-19, individuals became aware of the many types of ways germs are spread. One of the ways is through the touching of doors, push plates, and locks. However, due to security concerns and code compliances, doors must shut and latch. So this creates a conundrum of we just can't leave openings open, and we just can't make it every opening where you can back into it. So doors must, many times because of code, because fire-rated doors, certain types of code restrictions have doors they must shut and latch. Some doors are able to just be able to close. We're going to cover the different types of hardware that is available that in this presentation will not eliminate touching the door, but it will show you how to reduce the touch points on the door. Now, we can reduce the touch points on the door, however, with touchless solutions. However, you must also do due diligence in keeping the hardware clean, especially in high touch areas. And by the CDC asks that you disinfect and clean the hardware at least once a day. And we want you to be able to clean the hardware with soap and water. Here's another, you can use another disinfectant, use an EPA approved disinfectant, diluted bleach solutions, or a 70% alcohol solution. However, on hardware, you should avoid bleach because bleach can stain the hardware. So if you do due diligence, we can really knock out and we can help you reduce the touch points. But if you do due diligence in installing items that reduce the touch points, you also have to clean the items that are on the opening. Now, here's a picture of the Touchless Continuum. The Touchless Continuum Much like ASA Abloy Security Continuum, if you've ever seen that, shows a range of products to meet the range of needs of individuals and businesses. The Touchless Continuum helps guide you to determine what product is needed for each particular opening. The Continuum gives a complete range of products that minimally decreases touch points at the bottom. And at the bottom of the graph, it shows the products that minimally decreases the touch points, and to the top of a graph that totally eliminates touch points. This particular class, like I said at the beginning, will guide you through the low touch mechanical hardware only. When we do part 2 of this class in 2 weeks, the low touch and touchless electromechanical solutions at the top of the graph will be covered. Viewing the graph allows you to see how the least effective will cost less and the most effective will cost more. When we view the security continuum, we notice that the most convenient and secure locking systems cost upwards of $5,000 a door, while the least convenient and least secure cost about $140 a door. There are many choices of securing an opening in between those 2 points. Well, such is the case with the Touchless Continuum. The price ranges are from $25 to $4,000 when you go from one end of the continuum to the other. That is why the individual or business's budget needs proper attention. Now, one of the ways to decrease the spread of germs is to reduce the touch point on each opening. Because door hardware in high traffic areas provide opportunity for transfer of germs. These are restrooms, entrances and exits. Most doors can be retrofitted to hands-free without replacing an entire opening or replacing everything an entire opening. One of the things you can do is add an arm or foot pull to non-latching doors. Another thing is you can replace existing levers with paddle trim. Now, I've been in the industry a very long time, since the mid-70s. Now, not since the late 1980s has there been an opportunity to upgrade openings in the aftermarket arena like we are seeing now. In the late 70s and 80s, as a locksmith, many locksmiths and installers were installing deadbolts in residential and commercial openings many times a day. It was mostly new installations. That's because up until then, doors on residences didn't come with deadbolts. They just came with keyed locking knob locks. Well, because of the crisis of the time, and that crisis in the 70s and 80s was the rising crime rate throughout the country, locksmiths and installers and carpenters answered that crisis by going out and filling a need of installing deadbolts on all doors that didn't have a deadbolt. Now, we face a different crisis. We face the crisis of the transfer of germs right now. So each opening needs upgrading to answer the crisis of the time, and the crisis of this time is the spreading of germs. So we're going to talk about how you can upgrade the different openings. Now, we can replace existing pull on a door with a Rockwood 193 or a Rockwood AP 107. One of them is just an arm pull. The other is an arm pull with a plate behind it. It allows us to reduce the touch points on the opening by using your forearm. Each device comfortably accepts your arms to pull the door open. Now, I'm going to go over how easy installs these are. The Rockwood 93 is an easy install. It's secured with number 8 sheet metal screws. There's a 5 and 15, excuse me. There's a 5 and 15/16 center to center on it. And this comes in 11 different finish, to include powder coated finish such as white and black, to our normal plated finishes of bright brass, satin brass, brush chrome, bright chrome, US 10B, which is the brown duodentic finish. So there's 11 different finishes that you can choose from. The AP 1007 is also an easy install. It comes with a 4 by 16-inch base plate with rounded corners. The base plate is secured with 4 8/32 by 3/4 oval head sheet metal screws. And there is one through bolt for the handle. That is a 3/8 by 16 2.5-inch machine screw with a nice finish washer on the inside. This allows someone to pull the door open without fear of the handle coming loose. As you can see, it's a great addition to doors that do not have to latch, such as restroom doors. We have our low touch mechanical arm pulls. The Rockwood AP 1140 arm pull and the thinner version of the AP 1141. Notice these are added to existing hardware. You don't take the existing hardware off. This is a complement to what is already on the door. It's easy to install above this door pull. It can be put in new construction. It allows the door to operate it with your arm. And this also comes in a variety of finish and dimensions. Like I said, it's an easy install for Rockwood AP 1140 and the AP 1141. These are designed to be an addition to the existing hardware. Installs with 4 number 10 1.25-inch sheet metal screws. However, if you feel you need through bolts, or you feel that people will vandalize it or mess with it, like if it's in a school and students will unscrew it, you can get it with through bolts, and you can also order security torque screws as an option. The handles come in 4 finishes, 32 DMS. I'm going to talk about that finish in a little bit. US 10BE. And if you're not familiar with ASSA ABLOY's US 10BE finish, let me explain that finish for a second. In the hardware industry, bright brass is bright brass. There are little variances, but not much. Brush chrome is brush chrome. Bright chrome is bright chrome when it crosses manufacturer's lines. However, the most volatile finish in our industry is the 10B finish. You know it as the duodentic finish or the 613 finish. And that is because the water supply that the city uses determines the color brown that the finish is going to, that's going to be ultimately shown on the finish. And if we've been in the industry a while, we've known that if we've mixed manufacturers with 10B, the browns are quite different, and different color browns on the door really stick out. So ASSA ABLOY invented the 10BE finish, which is the enhanced finish. It's like a powder coated finish. And no matter what you order from Assa Abloy, whether it's a lock, a door closer, an electric strike, a kick plate, or hinges, or an exit device, the 10BE finish, as long as you state 10BE or 613E, that brown will be the same color across the board. Now, next, you see, in order to avoid pulling on the door with your hands, doors can be controlled using the foot pull, and that avoids contact with your fingers. The Rockwood FP 1230 foot pull, like the arm pulls, are not designed for latching doors. The Rockwood 494 door holder foot pull is able to reduce touch points by keeping the door held open until released with your foot. However, all of these items, the arm and foot pulls, cannot be used on fire-rated doors by themselves. Fire-rated doors must latch every time they shut. And in the case of the 494 holder foot pull, you're not allowed a mechanical hold open on a fire-rated door, because in case of a fire, someone would have to physically walk up to the door and release the latch. The FP 1230, you can place your foot right underneath, or you can place your foot right on top to pull this open. The material is 3/16 stainless steel, and it's through bolted with 2 1/4x20 through bolts for a secure fit to any door. Okay, next up, the Touchless Continuum. You remember from the Touchless Continuum we looked at is the use of latching devices. These can be used on fire-rated doors or doors that are required to latch. Depending on the type of lock, multiple functions are available with cylinder locking capabilities. These are available in Corbin Russwin, Sargent, Adams RITE for your aluminum storefront doors, and Yale Residential for the decorative look on nice office doors or homes. These touchless solutions provide simple hands-free operation. Each one can be worked with your forearm. They provide latching applications, and they are all capable of easy retrofits, which we're going to cover shortly. Now, if we were going to upgrade, this is just an example. You may be able to apply this to different type of openings that you run across, but I'm just giving the example of a patient room door and how we can upgrade a door with a lever or a knob on it that can give us more room and also make it touchless or reduce the touch points on the opening. Now, we have the patient room door. The first thing we could do is put McKinney swing clear hinges. This gives us an extra 3/4 to an inch that removes the door completely out of the opening. These can easily retrofit where there are standard butt hinges. When you use swing clear hinges, you do not change the trajectory of the door. So nothing has, the frame doesn't have to be oversized or the door does not have to be undersized. But what this does is this, when the door is open at 90 degrees or beyond, it takes the door out of the opening to free you up that some precious space, either for carts or wheelchairs going through an opening. Now, we already have the latch on the door, but as you can see, the latch is, the paddle is installed on the door. And all I can have to do is push or pull that paddle. Now, the push or pull trim paddle in the mortise lock is grade 1 and is certified ADA compliant. It can come in Sargent or Corbin and Russwin. In Sargent, it's the ALP trim. In the Corbin and Russwin, it's the HP trim. In the mortise, it is available in 40 mechanical functions, and it's also available in electrified, fail-safe, or fail-secure. They're UL listed for fire-rated doors. You also see the tubular or cylindrical function on the screen, and this function is available in a 2 3/4, 5-inch, or 7-inch back set. The back set allows us to get the handle further away from the edge of the door. In the case of a 7-inch back set, that gives somebody backing into the room a lot more area to either put the back of their arm on to push it open, or even their back to push the door open. However, while they are UL listed for fire-rated doors and grade 1 certified and ADA compliant, in the tubular or cylindrical function, there's only, design, there's only 2 functions, either passage or privacy. If you would need a key locking function, you have to go with the mortise locks. Now, you may say, this looks difficult to install. Well, it's not difficult to install. You can mount it push down for the push side of the door, or up. You can mount it up for the pull side of the door, or you can mount it to the side for push or pull. It is very easy retrofit. Another thing that they can come with, you noticed on the first, the previous PowerPoint, you will notice that they come with easily replaceable markers that can say push or pull, and they're easily changeable. So if it's going to go on the push side, we can put push. If it's going to go on the pull side, we can have pull, and they change very easily and in a short amount of time. Now, what do these replace? Why would I replace these on openings? Well, one of the reasons I would replace them on openings is because a lot of our openings either have a tubular cylindrical lever or a lever on a mortise lock. Or even in our hospitals, they have our hospital pole. Now, one thing this does create is it generally creates touch points, because we do have to use our fingers, and people just, when they see a lever, they use their fingers. Another thing these items create, they create ligature points, places to tie a rope. So in certain hospital settings, certain detention settings, it's easy enough to change to the ALP or HP design by Sargent or Corbin Russwin. Not only are you given, you've upgraded the opening, so an individual only has to use their forearm or elbow, you also drastically reduce the number of ligature points that people use to tie ropes and various things to hurt themselves. Now, we're just going to look at a couple of different ways that it reduces the touch points when we open the door. Now, as you can see, the young lady walking through the door uses her hip to open the door, and she doesn't even have to touch the door at all. The next, she can use her forearm or elbow to get out of the door. Again, not touching the door with her fingers at all. And the next way is the use of the forearm in order to come in and out of the door. So as you can see, you can open it either way by push or pull. That can be installed up, down, or to the side. It's your choice on how you would like these installed. In any case, on each of these openings, we have upgraded the openings. And in the case of the mortise lock, if you have a Sargent or Corbin Russwin mortise lock already in place, all you have to do is change out the trim. The cylindrical lock is easy enough. Just pull the other cylindrical lock out, put the new one in. In either case, you are looking at upgrading an opening and drastically reducing the touch points in under 30 minutes. Now, that was one example of types of office doors, types of hospital openings, wherever you would like, wherever you see cylindrical or mortise locks, and you're looking at the touchless continuum, you say, okay, well, that will work. That will solve an issue. We don't have to go deep, way up the continuum. For a lot less money, we can just replace some trim on the door, and we can drastically reduce the touch points. Now, as another example, we can talk about mechanical options for retail aluminum storefront doors. And an excellent choice from aluminum doors and frames is the Adams RITE 8800 series star wheel exit device. Aluminum openings, because of the give between the door and frame, create unique challenges in securing. With the interlocking star wheel, there is no way to pry a large gap between the door and frame to release the door. When installing a new exit device or replacing an old exit device on an aluminum opening, the Adams RITE 8800 series should be your first choice. Being an exit device with a bar extending over most of the door, as you can see, individuals can use their forearm or hip to push the bar down, thus reducing the touch points with their fingers. And these exit devices not only can come in a rim-mounted fashion with the star wheel, but if you already have a dead latch, which I will show you in a second, you can also have order the exit device that will work with the dead latch. In case that would be latched, that would be unlatched. See how the star wheel locks in place, and it creates a more secure opening for aluminum storefront doors. In case your aluminum opening is already prepped with a 4510 or 4900 series dead latch, the installation of the Adams RITE 4591 will give you an ergonomically friendly alternative to a lever handle. However, we're going to show you the different lever handles that you can use, but this is just one upgrade that you can make. Now, the 4590, you can either push or pull the door open. And we'll talk about the 4590 just a second. It's an alternative to knobs or level handles, and it makes the opening, the natural opening, just as soon as you push on it or you pull on it, the door, depending on which way the door swings, the door will just come open. These are compatible for any Adams RITE 4300, 4500, or 4900 series dead latch. They can also work with the deadlock, the 1890 deadlock dead latch, or the 2190 interconnected. There's a couple of monitor switches that can come with the 4590. You can add monitor switches, which is more of a request to exit. If say there was a mag lock on the door that you had to push on it and release the mag lock. But you can have it has dog down feature and a monitoring switch, which you can use as a request to exit. Now, on a couple of slides ago, you heard me mention that the items were offered with a 32D, which is stainless steel. US 32D is stainless steel. But there was one that was, a couple of them were offered 32 DMS. The MS stands for the Microshield Coating. Now, the reason for Microshield Coating, there's challenges. Hardware on highly trafficked door openings in buildings is a prime location for bacteria and other microbes, as we saw. Door pulls, levers, and exit devices are touched continuously by people going in and out, and organisms can live on these surfaces for hours. So when we're talking about the Microshield Coating, so we have established, come up with this, offers Microshield Coating on the lock sets. It's an antimicrobial coating for door hardware. Microshield uses proven silver ion-based technology from Aegean. Microshield is effective against a broad range of bacteria, mold, fungi, algae, and mildew. Microshield is EPA and NSF, Environmental Protection Agency, and National Science Foundation approved, and it's also FDA listed. The Microshield is long-lasting and has a controlled release. The silver is the active ingredient, and it's an aggressive broad-spectrum antimicrobial, even against drug-resistant strains of bacteria. So when you're ordering the products, whether it's the products that we talked about in the previous slides, you want to get it with the Microshield coating in case people do wind up touching the products. Yes, most people should use their elbows, most people should use their forearms, but there's always going to be people who walk up and just touch it. Well, the Microshield coating works to protect germs from being able to live on the handle sets. Now, we do have a list of lever handles that you can use in place of the push paddle. Now, the 4560 is an ADA compliant lever and is shaped to fit the hand with a concave thumb rest portion that tends to keep knuckles and thumbs safely away from the jamb. This is even good on a short backset narrow style. The 4565, the thumb turn is a minimum practical length, and it's designed to offer a firm grip to the fingertips, ideal for doors where the latch is operated infrequently. So you definitely would want the Microshield coating on this, because if you're forced to use one of these, the only way to stop germs from living on it, because people will be touching it, is the Microshield coating. The 4568 and the 4569 offers a generous hand grip with shank offset from the narrow style jamb for hand safety. Rugged construction ensures dependable performance with a high wear spring to return the handle to portion after use. You see the straight handle and the 45/6 of the 4568, well, the 4569 is designed to curve back toward the door in those localities that the enforcement code requires a return on all lever handles, such as California. Okay, one of the things we have to talk about, we're going to talk about a couple of different ones. We're going to talk about how also to reduce the touch points. One way to reduce the touch points is have a holder or a door closer with a hold open arm at the opening. I will give you a reason why. However, realize this, neither one of these can go on a fire rated door by themselves. Give you an example. The stop on the left can go on a fire rated door, but it's not able to go on a fire rated door by itself. It would need a door closer. Now, the hold to stop, as one example, is the Sargent 1540. Because we are discussing aftermarket installation, the surface mounted stop helps reduce touch points on the opening. This is a completely mechanical stop. The door must be open and then closed. It doesn't do it automatically. This cannot be used on fire rated openings. This does allow for the door to be opened once by a person and stay open until it's shut. Now, what good is this? If you've ever noticed individuals going on a door and the door keeps closing, everybody keeps putting their hands out to keep the door open. Well, you can open the door once, one person touches it, it will stay open. When everyone goes through, open, they want the door to close, they just push the door back closed. This offers a 110-degree opening, meets grade 1 compliance, and it's available in 19 finishes, including plated, painted, and powder coated. The installation is very easy. You have 2 through bolts through the door and 3 machine screws for the header. This stop installs in minutes. Now, you also can put a door closer on with a hold open arm. Many probably on the call are familiar with this. Door closers come in a variety of styles and finishes, from Corbin, Russwin, Norton, Sargent, and Yale. We have multiple mounting options, different closer arms, different brackets for different types of openings. So they really don't have an opening that we don't make a closer arm, a bracket, or a door closer for. We've got it covered. However, while you want to think of putting a door closer with a hold open on a non-fire rated door, is because they just have to push the door open once and it can stay open, so that will reduce the touch points on the door. And then when they're ready for the door to be shut, somebody either pushes the door shut from the outside, the door closes, now the door is shut. However, our whole goal with this class in following the touchless continuum was to, for inexpensively, reduce the touch points at an opening, because that's what our continuum does. It shows us inexpensive options, because everyone has a budget. No matter how small or how big the budget is, everyone always has a budget. So they're going to desire you to come up with a solution to reduce or eliminate touch points at an opening within their budget. Now, that is the end of today's presentation. In 2 weeks, I will be giving a presentation on reducing touch points and eliminating touch points. So we will be talking about mechanical, electromechanical, automatic operators, and hands-free access control in order to achieve complete touchless openings. Now, before we end today's class, is there any questions? First of all, I want to say thank you. I know your time is valuable, and I thank you for taking your time to view this presentation. Thank you, and I'll look forward to your attendance in 2 weeks. As I said before, Robinson at asaabloy.com.